So, today we are supposed to be speaking about the other aspects of the Panchanga other than the nakshatras. We have cleared nakshatras like in two classes, last two classes. So now we are supposed to speak about the rest of the Panchanga, and we will do that today. सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् एकदन्तं महाकायम् तप्तकाञ्चनसन्निभम् लम्बोदरं विशालाक्षं वन्देऽहं गणनायकम् षडाननं कुङ्कुमरक्तवर्णं महामतिम् दिव्यमयूरवहम् रुद्रस्य सूनुं सुरसैन्यनाथं गुहं सदाहं शरणं प्रपद्ये. So I believe the nakshatras portion was somewhat clear. I know it is not going to be easily perfectly clear, but it is because we actually are learning two different system. That means it is not even the same system. So we are actually it's an unnecessary mixing basically, which can create confusion. But that is as it is one of the primary foundational principle of one of the most important streams of Vedic astrology. You will eventually meet it anytime, like wherever you go. Somehow the nakshatras, the tithis, etc., will come to your like idea or like to your mind. So that is the purpose of giving an understanding regarding the nakshatra. So nakshatra system is just like the rashis, where we can calculate nakshatras based on any planet, but particularly it is about moon. That is what we generally consider. I don't know whether you have observed yesterday and day before yesterday. If you observe moon, you will see like a star that is exactly close to moon. I don't know whether you have a habit of looking to the sky, but if it is there, yes, then you will see. That is actually Saturn. So moon was just passing over Saturn, 23rd and 24th, like yesterday and day before yesterday. It was a very good experience to see it together. So in the same sense, we can actually see in the next full moon, not this full moon, in the next full moon, you will see the moon with the star Chitra. So In that sense, if you observe, you can see that in the sky, the nakshatras. That is the primary aspect of them, and that is basically the. Now we are going to the next part. Just like we use houses for predictions and things like that, in the nakshatra system there is a fivefold predictive system. One actually is the nakshatra. So together, all of them together is called as Panchanga. The word is Panchanga. Panchanga is like, I think the English, or like I don't know which language it is, but it is like almanac. That means it is like the specification of one day. So each day has got its own Panchanga, and one day's Panchanga will be not connected, or like not correlated with the next day. So then both days will be very different in the Panchangas. So, like as I said earlier, like the Rashi system, it is something that we acquired in the Vedic astrology. It is acquired from the Greek and the Persian systems, but Panchanga is actually more considered to be more original in its design. And in the Panchanga system, one of the most important one is nakshatra, which is we completed. The next important one is actually tithi. Tithi is actually, it's very simple. It is a phase of moon phases. So like yes, still. Nakshatra based Panchanga is very essential for identifying the date and time of the rituals. It is still used very widely. It is still very active. It's very less used for the predictive aspects right now. It is more used in the muhurta, in the right time understanding. Very less used in the, only the nakshatras are sometimes used for the predictive aspects. Otherwise, in the predictive astrology it is very less used, but in the rest of the astrology is like there are like many other branches, and in those branches one example is like muhurta, where you actually calculating the best time for everything. And in such things, um like in such things the panchanga is still used. And our nakshatra used to determine synastry. I don't know that word, what exactly that synastry or synastry means.
What's the relationship compatibility?
Relationship compatibility, yes, nakshatras are used. But the primary system is actually a mixed system between nakshatras and rashis. So it's a mixed thing, which is more like more better than using nakshatra alone. So that is the reason why it is adopted. And so, but still it is very much used, um, not as the 100 percentage of the matching, but maybe like 40 percentage it is coming from nakshatras. So in that is still used. That is why we are studying nakshatras. Like otherwise, it is absolutely not necessary. So the justification for our effort to make a study is that it is still used widely in the other branches of the astrology, even in the predictive astrology, which we call Jataka and Prashna. It is still used in many avenues or many areas. So that is the functional aspect of that. In the same sense, like nakshatras, it is used like the tithi. Tithi is basically the moon state or phase of moon. So simple, like it is something that you can observe in the sky, just like nakshatras. We said tithis are very easily observable in the skies. Basically, if you look the sky, you will understand what is the tithi. Tithi is actually the moon phase. what exactly makes the moon phase is the angular distance between sun and moon. And in Vedic astrology, it is understood as the strength of the connection between sun and moon. So in Vedic astrology, the most important planets are actually sun and moon, because without which basically it will become impossible to give results, because sun is actually the planet of soul and moon is actually the planet of mind. Basically our every perception, every capacity is based on the strength of sun and moon. So tithi actually give the relative strength between sun and moon. That means it actually shows the how they are actually related to each other, how they are actually um, spreading their energies to each other. So that is basically the base principle of tithi. So based on that, there are like the moon phases as 15 phases, from a new moon to a full moon, and also a full moon to a new moon. So generally we say it as the prathama, or like the day that is there is no moon at the night sky is called as the new moon, and the next day is called as the prathama, or the first. Prathama is actually a Sanskrit word which means first, then Dvitiya, then Tritiya, then Chaturthi. Like that, there will be 14 days in that cycle, and the 15th day is considered as the full moon. And then again, the cycle repeats. First day after full moon, second day after full moon, third day after full moon, and that cycle ends at the new moon, where there is no moon at night sky. This is the moon phases. And in the phases where the after the full moon, the phase 14 days after the full moon is called as the waning phase, or like the Sanskrit word is Krishna Paksha. Krishna Paksha. And the enhancing phase, or like where the moon enhances on each day in the night sky, that phase is called as Shukla Paksha. Krishna means dark, Shukla means white. So in the Krishna Paksha, the night will be mostly dark, and in the Shukla Paksha, the night will be mostly white. That is the reason behind the naming, the Shukla Paksha and the Krishna Paksha. So basically, it is considered to be like general principle of astrology is that Vedic astrology in general is that the power comes from the connection of sun and moon. So where exactly sun and moon are together, basically the power comes from the sun through the moon. This is the concept. So if you are actually born in Shukla Paksha, it is better to be born at night. Why? Because in Shukla Paksha, moon generally will be there in the night. In the daytime, it will be not there. But if you're born in Krishna Paksha, it is better to be born in daytime, because in Krishna Paksha, moon is at the daytime. We are not seeing the moon because it is in the daytime, just like we are not seeing the stars. So we are not seeing the moon, like in a new moon day, we are not seeing the moon means it is actually rising together with the sun, and setting together with the sun. That is why, because of the light of the sun, we will not see the moon. That is basically like new moon. So in the days where it is Krishna Paksha, it is preferable to born at daytime where the moon is, and in night time of the Shukla Paksha, it is preferable to like born at night time astrologically. Doesn't mean that the other is actually very bad, but this one is actually slightly more preferable. That's all. Now, each day after the full moon and after the new moon has got certain characters, and that is actually explained in detail in the note, like what is exactly the character and what is exactly the planet that controls, what is the basic energy, like that. The first, or like it is called as the pratipada, or like prathama. It is generally like a very it's an initiating tithi. Basically, if you're born in that tithi, you're born in that tithi means whenever you're born, that is actually the state between sun and moon. Basically, you generally will be an initiator, and you generally will be very much based on, we generally say it is connected with the Mooladhara Chakra. Like you generally will be based on being the root for everything. So you initiate things, you being a root for everything, and you be the primary like person from everything kind of like originates. But you will be very self absorbed, and also like not that much connected with the others, or with the world. In an, like your connections with the world will be very much based on you, not based on the connection. So that is the first prathama. Second tithi, dvitiya. The name of the tithis, prathama, dvitiya, they are actually just means first, second, third, like no other special meaning are there. So Ditya means the second. It is a Bhadra type Tithi. So there are 5 types of Tithi: Nanda, Bhadra, Jaya, Rikta, and Purna. The Nanda type Tithis are like basically they are happy with themselves. So they have the advantage and the disadvantage of being happy with themselves. When they are actually, because the advantage is that because they are happy with themselves, they actually will be living in a world where they are actually the center point. It has its own benefits and demerits. The second type of tithis is Bhadra type of tithi, where their primary idea is regarding connectivity. Like this is coming from the elements that they control, because the first Nanda type tithis, they generally have element of earth, Prithvi. The second type, Bhadra type tithis, like the Ditiya, the Saptami, these tithis are called as Bhadra, and they are actually very much based on connections, relationships, harmony, things like that. The word Bhadra means harmonious, so they generally will be very harmonious. The third type is actually Jaya. So if you don't know what moon phase is actually good for starting something new or like something like that, you can generally select the Bhadra type, because that is the most harmonious moon phase. The second, the seventh, and the 12th of each cycle. That is when the balance between sun and moon are actually in harmony. So you, that is actually very very like takeable, or like we can take that for any activities if we particularly don't know which one we should do. That is the second Bhadra type. The third type is actually connected with fire. The Tritiya, the Ashtami, this is like that. They are called as Jaya. Jaya means victory. So they are basically good for a competition, or um, like a battle, or like a war, things like that, where you are actually rivaling with another person. You want to be like successful. That, like, those are actually very good to start if you are actually trying to win over something inside yourself. Like, you want to like conquer, and or like come victorious on an habit or something like that. That generally is very good to take those tithis, the Jaya tithis. But they are actually confrontational. They are actually disharmonious. Victory is always a disharmonious thing. Like, if you are actually victorious, somebody is also defeated. So that is not connected with harmony. But if you are actually wanting to win over something, they are actually good tithis. Because of that, many of the how to say, like, very auspicious things, because of their basis is on harmony and completion. These tithis generally are not taken, like Ashtami or like Trayodashi. They are not taken for many auspicious things, because they focus on winning rather than being in harmony. Now, the next type of tithi is called Rikta. Rikta means lacking, or like, they are actually absorbing. So they, like, if you're actually planning for something where you want to get things absorbed from you, or like, for an example, like, is cleansing. So like, if you are cleansing yourself and you want to make sure that everything get out from you, like, if your intention is to take things out from you, they are actually considered to be good tithis for that purpose. They are like the Rikta tithis. And the Rikta Tithis are Chaturthi, Navami, Chaturdashi. Otherwise they are not considered for auspicious activities, because most of the auspicious activities in a human mind is the activities which add something to us, not taking away something from us. So because the definition of the auspicious activities is adding something to your life, generally the Rikta Tithis are considered to be not good for that, not good for that purpose. The the next type, the fifth and the final type, is generally called as Purna. Purna basically means that Purna is completed or completion. So basically, the Panchami, the Dashami, the full moon, the new moon, they are actually considered as Purna. They are actually very good for completion. So if you are actually doing an activity, like you are doing a penance for um, like some days, and you want to complete it in a very good day, basically it is the very best day is actually um, Purna Tithis, or like the last day to do something. Like, if you're actually wanting to do one last time of something, that is they are actually very very good. Because of that, people who born in these tithis, generally they will have a tendency to complete the things. So they are actually those people who stay in the background and complete the things that others started. So they will be amazingly good disciples, because they can actually completed what the master started. So they generally will be interested in completing the already begun things, rather than starting something new, or like creating a new path. And generally also they will be having an, if you're born in a Purnatithi, naturally you will have an inclination towards what we call moksha. Moksha is basically completion of the series of the lives. And because there will be like, there is an intention inside our deep conscious to complete the series of lives. People who born in these tithis generally will have a natural inclination towards spirituality, because of that allows a way to complete the series of lives. So that is the Purna Tithis, and they generally consider to be very auspicious, and taken for most of the activities. Now, that is regarding the tithis, and based on each planet that is ruling, the usage and the character of the person who born in that tithi will very much influence the elemental state. That is what we now discussed. What element is governing and what will be the type, and also the planets, and also how, like whether it is in the Krishna Paksha or in the Shukla Paksha. For an example, Krishna Paksha is more action oriented. Shukla Paksha is more perception oriented. So Krishna Paksha is more action oriented, like you do. Shukla Paksha is more like reception oriented. You receive. So basically, that will actually um, influence how each tithi is performed. That means the first prathama of the Krishna Paksha and the prathama of Shukla Paksha are not going to be similar, because their primary mode of operation is different. Krishna Paksha is to do something, like their solution for the problem is actually they're doing something. And on the Shukla Paksha, it is much more receiving something. Like they think that if I receive something, it will become better. That is reception or perception, things like that. They are the that is the very base difference between sun and moon, which is also the difference between benefic and malefic, which is also the difference between Nida and Pingala, which is also the difference between Shiva and Shakti, which is the difference between every duality that we can actually understand. So that is there in the Shukla and the Krishna also. So that is basically the idea for the tithis. Yes, the elements for the tithis, for the first tithis, it is earth element. The type of tithis which are called as Nanda, the element is earth. And the type of tithis which are called as Bhadra, the element is water. The type of tithis which are called Jaya, where we said like it is based on victory and things like that. The element is fire. And for the tithis which are absorbing things from you, just like air absorbs a water from a cloth that is put on outside. I don't know, in India at least. That is called as Rikta. The type of tithi is Rikta. It is the element is air. And finally, Purna, the completion, Akasha. I don't know the English. I think it's ether or something. That is Akasha. uh, it's a very interesting question. Ekadashi fasting. Um, so if we look at that, so there is a concept in India that if you are actually a person, you are supposed to fast on certain tithis, because fasting on certain tithis will make your alignment with your mind and soul. The alignment between mind and intelligence will become, earlier we said that, like our thoughts, our emotions are basically expressions of how our mind is aligned to our intelligence. So if that alignment is perfect, our thoughts will be perfect, our emotions will be perfect. um, all that thing. So for that purpose, there is mentioned fasting. fasting in particular tithis, so that you are actually not giving the most of the moon energy and the sun energy, or like the moon awareness and the sun awareness inside ourselves is actually gone for production of energy. So we are using most of our moon and most of our sun for producing the energy, like the biological energy. That is why, like, their primary concept is connected with a digestion. So that is why a bad moon and a bad sun definitely will give you digestive problems, because they are actually the primary sources of digestion and creation of energy. Even in a body level, physical level, and even in a cellular level, they are the ones who create the energy in which we sustains. That is why we consider them the father and the mother. So that is the primary usage of that. So when you are actually doing fasting, you're using that energy of sun and moon in a different way, that if they are actually sitting like that, they will adjust to themselves. The sun's energy will adjust with the moon's energy. The actual statement is opposite. Moon's energy is basically adaptability. It will adapt. Your moon will adapt to your sun if you are not asking that moon to adapt the food to your body. Your moon will adapt to your sun if you are not asking that moon to make the food adapt to the body. And that is the principle of fasting. Even in any spiritual sense, fasting is basically representing this, like you are allowing the moon to adapt itself to the sun. And there is generally, fasting is indicated in different tithis based on that person's need and necessity. So Ekadashi is the most common out of them, but it is not the only tithi. There is Pradosha. Pradosha is actually coming in the Trayodashi tithi, the 13th one. Ekadashi means 11. Trayodashi is actually 13th. There is a lot of people who do the fasting in Shashti. The Shashti is actually the sixth one, is considered a very important tithi for fasting. Um, the There is also Ashtami. Ashtami Tithi is, particularly for some purposes, it is considered a very nice Tithi for fasting. And basically, the reason, like, why Ekadashi is actually considered to be, Ekadashi is the ideal day for fasting for how to say, grihastha. Grihastha is what, a family person. Like if you're a family person, if you're not a family person, Ekadashi is not the right tithi for doing the fasting. But if you're actually because the most of the people, 90% of the people will be always family people, and that is why it is considered as the most popular tithi for fasting. Its advantage, or like why it is so important, is because it primarily has got a Mars energy. Ekadashi has got a primarily Mars energy, but it is a very rooted Mars. Mars energy, whenever it connects with Earth, it will become perfect. Householder, yes, thank you. Like Mars energy, whenever it is connected with Earth, it will become perfect. It gets the perfect amount of transformation power when it is connected with Earth. This is why Mars is exalted in, perfect, Capricorn. Capricorn is an earthen sign. Mars is exalted there because of that earthen aspect of Capricorn. So whenever Mars combines with Earth, generally that creates a perfect transformation probability. So when you are actually fasting on Ekadashi, that means you are aligning your mind with your intelligence. It will actually able to transform the vasanas. Vasanas means samskaras. Samskaras means impressions of previous karma. So the somewhat bad karmas that are there, that are already manifested, some impressions of this bad karmas which are already there, will be transformed by the light of the soul if you are actually doing the fasting on Ekadashi. So that is the advantage of fasting in Ekadashi for the householder.
Dr. Vikas, for the Vanapastas, what would be the best?
Um, for the Vanaprasthas, um, that is an important question. Like there are two types of Vanaprasthas: Vanaprasthas with husband or wife, Vanaprasthas without husband or wife. There are two categories for that. If with wife or husband, it is Ekadashi still. But without, then it will become Trayodashi. The moon is malefic. 72 degrees away from the sun all the way to new moon. It determines your ability to. Yeah, of course, moon is malefic. When moon is very close to sun, moon is malefic. The closer, the more it will become malefic. Malefic in the sense of moon means it comes in the daytime. That means its energy is not soft, its energy is hard. But will that be like bad for the person? That will be determined upon that person's other factors. So malefic in the sense krura, which is its original meaning, moon definitely is krura when it is very close to sun. Kshirna chandraha papaha. Moon actually is very like aggressive if it is not away from sun. That means if it is very close to sun, that means if it is coming more in the day rather than the night. Of course, it is malefic. But it will depend upon the other factors whether that will be good or bad for that person. We cannot say that that person will take the struggles with the manifestation of horoscope, because moon, when it is close to the sun, um, we will say that whenever moon is actually close to the sun, that is this may be not very correct, but we generally say that that is the housewife combination. Housewife means moon, whenever it is very close to sun, moon will become combusted like the other planets. So combustion of the moon is what the dark phase, or like the Krishna Paksha. It is actually, it doesn't mean that the moon is not there. It just means that moon went inside. Moon went inside means moon is the one which controls the internal things. Sun is the one which controls the external things. So the energy of the moon will be expressed through the sun, just like any other combustion planet. So we see that in the combustion planets, in a combustion planet, the planet does not disappear, the planet's energy does not go away. It expresses through the sun. That is also why the reason in those time, if you're born in daytime, it is better, because there will be a better expression of energy because sun is there. So moon, whenever it is close to sun, it is not, it is disappearing. It is disappearing from the surface, it is going to the depth, and its energy will be expressed through the sun. So that the moon and sun generally will have one opinion. There will be the intelligence's opinion will be very much what the mind's opinion will also be there. In those days, it is much easier to align the mind with the intelligence. In
Sorry,
those days, yes.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Do you have a question, or shall I continue?
I was just wondering if you could give a more specific example so I could understand. What does it mean that the moon and the sun will you said it will express the I'm sorry, the intelligence will express through the sun? They'll be of one opinion. Could you give just a simple example so I understand how that works.
We will say it is the housewife example where the wife always generally have the same opinion of the husband. So the it is very difficult to understand without a cultural context of that. But that is why I didn't explain it. But it is like that. Like the actual opinion will come from the wife, and the husband will be the one who is saying that, expressing that. If the husband is not very intelligent, he will think that it is his opinion, and because a good wife will persuade the husband to make husband think that his opinion is, or her opinion as his opinion. And that is what the moon does, that it goes inside the mind of the sun. So the moon's opinion will come as the expression of the sun. One example is that the philosophical way to say that is that the mind will become submerged in intelligence. Whenever moon is close to the sun, the mind will get submerged in the intelligence, and mind will become more and more connected with the intelligence, so that the mind's good or bad will have a bigger impact on intelligence. Intelligence will be more affected by the mind's um, what to say, like mind's play. Opposite is also true. In mind, intelligence will be very much connected to the mind, so that mind will also get heavily influenced by intelligence. In the full moon, when the moon and sun are actually absolutely opposite directions, like maximum distance, basically what means that the intelligence will be independent, it will have its own manifestations. The mind will be independent, it will have its own manifestations, so that there is a very less risk for madness, but is also there is very less chance for enlightenment. When sun and moon are together, the mind will completely influence the intelligence, intelligence will completely influence the mind. So there is a very probable risk for madness, and there is a very probable risk for enlightenment. So because they are actually the same pathway. So whether it will be madness or an enlightenment, that will be based on the sun's strength, moon's strength, the influence of other planets, all things like that. But they are actually the same pathway. That is why, that is why in old traditions, generally things like diksha. I don't know whether you have heard about diksha. Diksha is actually initiation. Um, Diksha and initiations are given in days where sun and moon are together. One of the most preeminent initiation days, Shivaratri, which is going to come. Shivaratri mostly will come on either the 14th day of the Krishna Paksha, dark phase, or the 13th day of the Krishna Paksha, dark phase, which means that the moon will be completely with the sun in a Shivaratri. Or Deepavali, other day, which we generally say, Deepavali. These days, their importance will be, moon will be completely bent. Mostly it will be a new moon type of thing, like it will be completely together. So it's very easy to light a lamp inside you on that day, because your mind and intelligence will be aligned in one line, so that it is much easy for a teacher to light one lamp in your mind, and it will directly go to the intelligence, or in intelligence, and it directly goes to the mind. So that is the connection between mind and intelligence based on the in the horoscope from the sun and the moon. A person's personal experience will be very much connected with the rest of the planets also. So it can only be considered based on the light of the other planets. And what should I repeat, ma'am? Like which portion? New moon and full moon. New moon basically means that sun and moon are together. That is new moon. Full moon means sun and moon are still together, but on the other sides. So that if 180-degree difference is between sun and moon, that is actually full moon. If sun and moon, the angular difference is actually zero, that is actually new moon. That is the new moon and full moon. But new moon in a spiritual sense means that the moon is immersed in the sun. The moon energy is completely dissolved in the sun's energy, which means that the mind and intelligence are actually in one line. Whenever mind and intelligence are completely interdependent, that is actually a great position for getting mad or getting enlightened. But if they are both very dependent, very independent, basically it is actually a good position for living life in the world. So that is like in the full moon, the world life is much easier. Spirituality is also easier because the moon will aspect sun and sun will aspect moon if it is perfectly in full moon. But for enlightenment, that moment of going beyond the death, it is generally preferred the sun and moon to be together. To be born, both are actually good for to born, but we generally get a very different path based on where we are born. So a spiritual path for a person who is born in say 12th day of the moon phase, white phase, Shukla Paksha, and the person who born on the 8th day of Krishna Paksha, it does not have the same pathway of life. The pathway is not materialistically similar. The pathway is absolutely not similar in spiritual way. That is actually the guru will ask for your tithi just to identify what exactly is the pathway that is probable or like the better one. So you can be successful at any tithi. You born in we generally um, we generally have like a story. There is everybody was saying that the black eighth day of the black face, eighth day of the Krishna Paksha was a bad day. It was generally in astrology, it is not taken for most of the things, and it is considered to be a very difficult day. So there was a saying that it was bad like that. And we have a story that Krishna, like a Krishna is actually like an avatar, has born in that day to prove to the world that you can be successful even if you're born in any day. So your birth can be on any day, but you still will be successful based on if you're actually rightly choosing the path of the life. So the birth tithi is secondary. It's important to in the diagnosis, in the identification of the path of life, but it doesn't actually have a prognostic value in the success and failure. If Amavasya is moon dissolved in sun, what would be Purnima? Purnima is actually um, two people. They are actually looking each other in the face. That is Purnima. They hugging is Amavasya. So Purnima is actually where moon reflects to the sun reflects to the moon. Purnima is very similar to Amavasya because of that seventh house aspect. So, in astrology, there is a 180-degree aspect which is created by the seventh house. So, Purnima and Amavasya are very, very similar. There is a small difference, particularly important small difference, but otherwise they are very similar. But the other things in that white phase, they are not similar to either Purnima or Amavasya, and the other things in the black phase are not similar to Purnima or Amavasya. So if you are actually moving in a path of duality, Purnima is actually the best path. If you are moving in a path of singularity, the Krishna Paksha creates singularity. The sun and moon become one. Shukla Paksha creates duality. The sun will be perfect but independent. Moon will be perfect but independent, but still connected. That is not the case of astrology. That important small difference is actually something the teacher should say. It is not at all connected with any of the astrological thing. It is actually about the path of the person. As spiritual paths are really can be very, very relentless and harsh. And if you get a teacher, you will understand what is the malefic aspect of the spiritual life. It is not going to be very soft and very like very simple. It is going to be harsh. It's like a training of a martial arts. You will not go forward without taking hits. Okay. So now coming to the okay. Any questions on the tithis?
Dr. Vikas, could you just repeat? You said now in the end that the one is good for material life and one is better for spiritual life, and I just was not sure now which one was what.
No, ma'am. I didn't. It is not like exactly like that. Like there are two paths: the dual path and the singular path,
Okay,
which we
that.
call the Dvaita and the Advaita. So
Yeah.
if you're actually going in a Dvaita path, the white face of the moon will feel more positive. If you're going in the path of Advaita, the dark face of the moon will feel more positive.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Talk about the different Purnima, like Guru Purnima in July. Oh, there are many Purnimas. Like there are names given for all the different Purnimas based on people who born in different like great people. Like for example, there is a Buddha Purnima where Buddha is born. Like that, by the based on the birth of the people, there is different Purnimas. Guru Purnima basically is where it is actually the process where the meditation starts. Like there is a practice of 2 months of meditation in Vedic culture. That meditation base, which we call the Chaturmasya, that actually starts from the Guru Purnima. So from Guru Purnima to 2 months were in ancient times in wars, etc., like that, were prohibited in India. There was no wars or anything like that, because there will be a lot of people who doing 2 months complete meditation, and the wars, etc., will disturb them. So it is and also in India at that time there will be full monsoon, like it will be rain over rain over rain. So it's much better to sit and meditate. So that is the Guru Purnima. It is a starting initiation of the meditation. If you've done that meditation very nicely, after there is like an Amavasya, a new moon called Mahalaya Amavasya. You generally will get realization around that time of the Mahalaya Amavasya, or like going further, like in that 10 days, starting from Mahalaya Amavasya, ending in the Vijayadashami, you will get realization if you have done that Chaturmasya very clearly. This is the old belief, or like old convention.
Dr. Vikas, could I just clarify what you meant by a dualistic path versus a singular path? Because I've been described that with from a very particular perspective, and I'm not sure how you mean that.
Mhm.
What does a dualistic path versus a singular path mean?
As we are not dealing with the philosophy here, I will say that in one sentence. If your growth and understandings are based on experience, that is a dualistic path. If your growth and understanding are based on intelligence, that is a singular path. Dvaita is anubhutibaddha. That means it is based on experiences. And the singularity, Advaita, is anusandhanabaddha. That means it is like constantly like thinking and going in using the intelligence. So both paths are actually will lead to the same place, but based on our type, we should select the one that is good for us. So that is the tithis. Now coming to the next portion, Karana. Karana is basically Tithehe Artha Karana. That means half of the Tithi. If you are not like, it is an independent division, but we believe that each Tithi has got a different characteristics, or like we can actually connect a Tithi with a different, like one Tithi has got two different types of energy inside that, and that two different types of energies that is existing in one tithi, that is called as karana. Karana basically means the active energy. So that is karana. Basically the word karana itself means the one which does, or like the one which does the action. So it is basically the energy that is ruling the tithi. So we understood earlier, understanding the energy of the tithi from the element and from its character, things like that. Karana is actually in each tithi there are two based on the time. It is it's another division. It's not another division. It is like in each tithi there will be two karanas. So the energy of that tithi will change according to that karana. Karana basically is showing how to be how our internal tendencies are, or like there is something which we call the vasanas, and vasanas are actually basically the samskaras that we have. Based on that, like each karana has got its own vasana and its own samskara, which is represented by animals. So what is our base tendency? What is our to which we can actually relate and understand the right path? That is basically like based on the karanas. So there are 7 moving karanas and 4 fixed karanas. So there are total 7 fixed and 4 movable. There are like 11 karanas that is coming. For the 30 tithis, or like for the 15 tithis, there are like only 11 karanas. That means that is the moving, like some tithi, the karana that is associated with each tithi will change. So that means the energy of the tithi itself will change. So that is the based on the cycle of the moon and sun, where exactly the moon and sun are present. The energy of that tithi will change, and to understand or like to clearly postulate the change in that energy, that is why karanas are used. So and there are like 4 fixed karanas. So the fixed means that karana will always come with one tithi. So it is called as fixed because it always come associated with one tithi. That means it will never change the tithi. So always that karana will be associated with that tithi. That is why they are called as fixed. So karana is actually another calculation. It is indeed it's connected with tithi, but it is not completely based on tithi. But the fixed, in the case of fixed karanas, that tithi is actually fixed. So it will always come with one tithi. So the first one for the fixed, the first karana is called as Shakuni karana. Shakuni karana, it will be generally coming to the 14th day of the moon phase. And generally, as we said earlier, like a tithi has got two sides. So first part and second part for tithi. So Karana's length is actually equivalent to the one part, 50% of the tithi. So in the 14th, Krishna Paksha 14th dark moon day. So that means the day that is just before new moon. So that day, the second part of that day is connected with this karana, that it is there clearly in the note. So this karana is called as Shakuni. Shakuni is like a bird, like eagle or something. I think it is eagle. It is connected with this tithi. So anytime, if it is the second portion, the second, say, 12 hours of the 14th day of the dark moon phase, it is this karana. It never changes. That is Shakuni. And generally it is like eagle, like it is connected with war and activities like that, where you are supposed to be composed and calm, but your intention is to destroy. Like if you're a bomber, if you're actually a bomber pilot, where you should be very accurate, very calm, very composed, very yogic inside you, but your intention for that is actually destruction. So that is the Shakuni. Just like an eagle catches a prey, they generally have a tendency to catch everything. They will be very calm when you observe them, but they will be like super good at creating distractions. So that is Shakuni Karana. The immediately next Karana is Chatushpata. Chatushpata is basically which means that a bad, like not bad, an uncontrolled animal, an animal that lost its brain. That is actually Chatushpata. Mostly it is considered as a bull or some like a bull in that there was a thing there is a thing in Spain where they kind of like work with that bull. It actually, that Karana represents exactly like that. So it doesn't actually like don't like think that much. It is just running on its instincts. Very good for activities which are based on that instincts. Otherwise, generally we will say that this Karana, this is mostly used for the first Shakuni Karana, and this Karana is mostly used by people who are actually doing theft. So if you want to steal something, these two Karanas are actually best. And if you're born in this Karana, you generally will have a bit more higher adaptability to learning theft, because it gives you like fast actions with a calm mind, which is very important for theft. Now the third fixed one, which is the second phase of the new moon. So the first phase of the new moon will be Chatushpat Karana, the Karana which we spoke before, the four-legged, the bull type of one. The second phase of the new moon has got a fixed Karanas, like the energy of the new moon is always constant. That is one of the fine things about new moon. The next one is actually called as Naga Karana. So these Karanas have got, if you're actually learning, say, Tantra or something like a deep thing, these Karanas have got very different and very deep meaning. But Naga Karana basically means snake. So it's very good for activities that is connected with like black magic, things like that. That is an energy that is very useful for um, like esoteric knowledges, black magics, things like that. And the fourth karana
Dr.
is
Vikas,
like,
sorry, just to check, the Naga is the second half of the Amavasya, right?
correct, very
Thank you.
correct. The first part of Amavasya is actually Chatushpat, and the second part of Amavasya is Naga. Amavasya is the only tithi which is having fixed karanas on both ends. So that is why Amavasya is the only tithi where we can have a better prediction of energy. The path of energy can be nicely predicted in the Amavasya. Now, the next one is actually the first part of the first day of the white phase. So the day immediately after a new moon, its first part, first 12 hours is the next, which is called as the Kimstukha, which means like monkey. So it means monkey. So it is a very intelligent Karana, but it is extremely annoying. It is smart, but it is restless. So like monkeys, like very small children, Kimstukna or Kaustua. If you are difficult to say that name, say Kaustua or say monkey, anything. That is the fixed Karanas. So they actually have 2 days for them. So 12 hours, the second 12 hours of the Chaturdashi, Krishna Chaturdashi, the full day of Amavasya, the first 12 hours of Shukla Pratipata. That is always connected with these Karanas. Now, the next moving 7 Karanas, they come in cycles 4 times for the next 28 days. So of the 30 days, 2 days are now like 48 hours are fixed like this. But the next 7 moving karanas will take turns for the next 28 days, like repeatedly, like one by one, one by one. And the inside them, the first karana is actually Bhava karana. Bhava means lion. So sometimes people ask, should I be a vegetarian or not? So if you're born in this Bhava Karana, there is no exact necessity for you to be a vegetarian. It doesn't actually connects with your primary energy. You can, it doesn't mean like you should not. But if that is a philosophical question, you should not. Because the Bhava Karana is actually very like it is like lion. So basically what lion likes, basically what the way that lion behaves, it is very much if a person born in the Bhava Karana, they will have some lion attributes like somebody who is born in the sign. If a person is born in, yes, Simha. So just like somebody who is born in the sign Simha, Leo, will have lion traits. These people who born in this Karana will also have that lion traits. The next one is actually Balavakarana. Balavakarana is actually leopard. So unlike the Bhavakarana, it is very fast. Bhavakarana is majestic. Balavakarana is fast. The any energies of leopard. So this speaks about the internal animal inside us, and if we are living in the circumstances that matches those animals, that generally will be much good for us. So for an example, if you are a yeah, if you are like an eagle kind of person, it is always better for you to be active in the day, because eagles are active in the day. If you are actually born in a Nagakarna, it is much more time. Your most productive times will mostly coincide with the night. So things like that. Just examples, but we can further think. You will be able to think and develop that. The next one is Kaulava. Kaulava is actually connected with, how to say, the energy is, what is that animal? Pig, hog, I think hog, pig, something like that. Which is like very active, very can eat anything, can fill into things very fast. If there is two pigs are there like today, in the next 6 months it will be a full family, like that much faster it will develop. They generally have that expansion tendencies, like they will expand, eat anything, consume anything, and expand. That is the Kaulava. Next Karana is actually the Tetila. And Tetila Karana is actually connected with donkey. So the energy of the donkey. Donkey means it can lift any weight, like it can go to any height, it can lift any weight. It will never get fatigued by doing a job. Generally, it will have very, very less self-awareness. Other than that, it is the best karana. The problem is that Tetila Karana generally enhances. It doesn't make, but it enhances your chances to be working for others rather than working for yourself. So if you are in a Tetila Karana, it is much easier for you to work in a corporate space where you are asked to work this. But if you are actually like in a Ballavakarana, it will be difficult for you to work, because you generally find your own way. Then there is Garakarana. Garakarana is elephant. So very strong intelligence, very big strength, very less intention. So an inspired Garakarana is very strong. Not inspired, it will be just like simply like eating after eating. So that is Garakarana. The energy is basically energy of elephant. Strong memory, like long memory, long intelligence, and also like big strength, but generally will be not interested in anything unless inspired. They are the Karanas whom, if you have a friend who is born in that Karana, it's basically better for you to not make that person angry. Because when they become angry, they generally go to their primary energy, and their primary energy is like an energy of angry elephant. The next is actually called as Vanija Karana. Vanija Karana. The element, the animal is basically cow. So there will be strong emotional connectivity. There will be capacity to think and rethink like cows. There will be strong interpersonal relationships. All that will be there, very harmonious karana. So if you are actually born in the Vanija karana, it is not good for you to be in a partnership with a person who is called who is born in Simha karana. You understand? Like one is lion and another one is cow. It generally don't go well, that partnership, because one will have the tendency always to overcome or like to consume the other. The last one is actually Vishti Karana. Vishti generally said as any bird, but mostly it is associated, or like it is generally, not in the textual wise, but general conviction is that it is associated with rooster, which is like yeah, like always consuming, always like it is very consumption based. Because of that, that karana is not taken for most of those species activities, even though it is a moving karana. Even generally fixed karanas are not taken for auspicious activities, because you generally will not be able to grow through that, because they will not change. They are resistant to change. So a new activity, like generally we do that for the change. So because they are fixed, they will not change, and they will not allow the change to happen. So they are not taken for any auspicious activities. Any, even like education is prohibited in those. But in the moving ones, this vishti is not not considered for good activities, because it is very very rajasic. Like its energy is always based on consumption. Um, yes, particularly for the Kaulava Karana, not that much for the Bhava Karana. Simha Karana basically is much more active, but they become more active when there is a threat. So the Tetila Karana, which is always active. Uh, Bhava Karana or the Simha Karana is not always active. It is only active, really active, when it has got some threat. But Kaulava Karana is really like they have that laziness. So they if it is not a very important thing for them, they can actually sit around and wait. So that is that primordial animal energy of a person. That is what Karana represents. It is very essential in understanding that person's best things in life. So if you want to suggest something that is good for that person, not good for that person, this will be a very nice consideration to take. But the problem with this thing is that this is lifelong. That means it is not good for time specific things. The problem with the panchangas, why the rashis kind of like become more convenient, is because you only are going to see the lion inside you, like in the whole life. So like not in a day-to-day thing, not in a month-to-month thing, not in a year-to-year thing. Only that lion's tendency will be so minimal at one time, because it is spread to the whole life. So unless, like, if you are not influenced by a heavy pain, or unless you are not heavy influenced by a heavy pleasure, this will not come. So there should be a circumstance with intensity is required for your internal animal to manifest. That is why in the prediction sense they are not that good, because the person will say that I am not acting like a lion, because only in the whole life, the full story of the life will reveal him as an or her as a lion. So that is the one thing that we need to be a bit careful regarding when assessing. But definitely they are very good for what will be ideal for me. So like I said, like, can I be non-vegetarian, or like can I be vegetarian also? Like that. If you are born into Vanijakarana or like in Gajakarana, basically being vegetarian is slightly advantageous for you. But if you're not, there is no particular reason for you to be vegetarian unless it is mandated by like some other activities. So such questions can be easily answered by the understanding of these karanas. And generally, it is said that if you are born in one karana, basically it is not good for you to hurt that animal. Or if you can feed that animal, it is good. It's just a connection, like, how to say, like from a line to other line, like that, a connection. So that is the karanas. But if you are actually going for any deep thing, these karanas will be extremely important. But we are not going for that deep thing here. So here, that is the limit of that. So any questions on the karanas?
I just wanted to ask, still on this depth that you now mentioned, is that because usually if you go really deep into something, you also get a certain amount of intensity that then actually triggers that basic animalistic instinct?
Because in any deep sense, you're actually trying to overcome this animal.
Ah, okay. Yes.
Because this is the animal side inside each human.
Hmm.
The nakshatras, animals, and this is different. Yes, it is different. Why it is different? Because nakshatras, animals more shows the omens, things like that, and it definitely is influencing your mind. But it is when you are actually in your base state. That means when you are in your normal state, nakshatras, animals are significant. Karana manifests when you are agitated, when you're out of your base frequency, you're jumping up from your base frequency, or you're jumping down from your base frequency. That is when the karana comes. Karana actually is the animalistic side inside each human, and that is the side a human basically need to overcome. So you can actually think about that animal very deeply, and you will understand what exactly the side that need to overcome. If I said like that, you will begin to think, okay, this is my karana, so I need to go like that. So, but if you actually observe the animal or understand regarding that animal very clearly, you will see how it is important for you to become unanimalized. Because generally for us, the journey starts with half animal and half a human, and it ends in, or it progress through half human and half divine, and then it ends in being fully divine. um Apply new moon Nagakarana born person. It is they generally will be good at analysis, or like destruction means like to split everything. So they will be very good at analysis. They will be very good at where one thing is actually broken into many small pieces and understood. They will be very good at like going to the depth, because without destruction you cannot go to the depth. So learning deep things, that is very good for that Nagakarna person. Okay, any questions?
I was just contemplating the animalistic aspects of ourself we need to overcome, thinking about myself, obviously. Um, but I just wanted to make sure that I understand this. Like for example, lions could maybe be excessively proud and individualistic, whereas a cow might be prone more toward mental inertia and too group oriented, like they might not like to say something against the group or something. Is that kind of that idea of,
That is a
or
very nice way of thinking. Yes, that's a
okay,
correct way of thinking. If you
okay,
think further, you will get more details.
okay, thank you.
Um, Basically, like in the rest of the 28 days, one come after another, come after another. So in that order that is written in the note. So it is clearly given as the picture inside the note how they are actually moving. So in that order, Baba Balava, that the exact order that we discussed them, they will change from one to the other. So each tithi will get one or different um, karanas in each cycle. That is how, like for example, like Adashi or like Dwadashi will get one karana in the Shukla, in the white phase, and another karana in the dark phase. That is how they are actually moving. So they are not moving independent of the person. They are actually moving based on the tithis. That is why they are considered moving. Yes, ma'am. Technically, yes. Technically, yes, because a day is actually 24 hours. So a tithi is one full day. It actually is 24 hours. But karana is actually half of that tithi. So it will become 12 hours. But the tithi starting point may not be the starting point of our day. So we have now this 12 a.m. starting point. It not does not always align with that, but actually it will align with the phases of the moon in the sky. So mostly it will be 24 hours, but based on the Earth's rotation, it will be slightly vary, like 23:56 or like that. So that variation will be there. But other than that, mostly in an average, it will be 24 hours and cut into half, 12 hours will be Karana. But if the Tithi is actually, say, 23 hours, 56 minutes, then the Karana will also only be half of that. But that halving also will be not uniform. One Karana will be slightly more and the other Karana will be slightly less. Based on where exactly it starts, where exactly that Tithi gets shortened. And all of them are actually astronomy. All of them you can actually observe in the sky. It's okay to easy to understand by observation. Thank you.